Hey guys, it's Carmen here again with Verge Permaculture. We're in my main garden area in my urban property called the Urban Farm Permaculture Project here in Calgary, Alberta, Zone 3. And we have a lot of strategies on this property for building resilience and building more food security for ourselves. And so my company, Urban Farm School, we host a lot of students here on the property. It's really important that they see, you know, these regenerative practices on an urban scale in action. So, you know, in the permaculture course, we talk a lot about soil health. We do have actually a permaculture gardening component as well. And we talk about different strategies for building more resilience. And one of those is intercropping and stacking functions in space and time in the garden. So succession planting and so on. So just a few little strategies I'll show you about that are going on right now, and this is only the very beginning of this season. So if you look in this bed here, we've got 4 rows of carrots. They're just emerging, little baby seedlings coming up. In about a week they'll need to be thinned out. But you can see that I've got a row of green onions. Now often I'll put a row of green onions in between every row of carrots. Now why do I do that? The reason is one problem that carrots often have is carrot rust fly. So the alliums are natural pest deterrents, and so when I plant green onions in between, I seem to have less problems with carrot rust fly. I've noticed that as a trend over the years, so it's something I continue to do. So as these carrots get quite a bit taller, they'll start to shade out some of these green onions, but because they're green onions and not full bulbing onions, that's no problem. They don't require the same amount of space or solar resources that storage onions actually do. So that's a perfect strategy for here. In this bed here, we sort of stacked it a bit in time, and this is going to be an ever-evolving greens bed. All summer long, this will be used for greens. So about a month ago, I sowed 3 different varieties of spinach in here. I let those get to a certain height, and so they've got the head start. Then I transplanted in about a week ago some lovely romaine lettuce transplants and some butterhead lettuce transplants. Those are going to be evolving into full heads. So they're going to be occupying these spaces for a while. Once the spinach is done, then we'll seed again. I'll start at one end and I'll harvest that back end, and then I'll seed again with something that can just take a little bit of the heat. Like I might come in with some Swiss chard in there, or some baby kale. I'll get some kale in there. It doesn't mind the heat the way other greens do. It seems to manage it just fine. But this bed is going to be rotated in. So what you don't want to do is be sowing all of your spinach and all of your lettuce for your whole season at one time, because they're cool season crops and they will be stressed by the heat, and they will want to go to seed in the heat. So you've got to be able to manage your succession. Now at some point, I'm not going to be able to grow spinach anymore in the summer garden because it'll be too hot. As soon as they start to germinate, they're going to start to go to seed. So my strategy with those, if I want more spinach, is I will plant my spinach next to a taller crop that will shade it. So if I'm able to get some Swiss chard in here, or I want to underplant my kale with spinach, that bed there starting to lose its sun right about now, just starting to get a little dappled shade, and that's just enough cool off from the late afternoon sun that the spinach, I can get some good bolt resistant spinach varieties in there, and they do just fine. So in this broccoli bed, this broccoli is also a really cool season crop. It's planted quite densely. I've got 3 different varieties of spinach that are all going to mature at different times. So that means as I harvest the earliest ones, I'm going to be able to open up that canopy, so to speak. But any time I could be in here with a low-growing lettuce variety, right? It's getting a little bit shaded from those leaves. So as the canopy of the broccoli thins out and I'm harvesting, those lettuces will grow a little bit more robustly and a little taller, and then ultimately the spinach, the broccoli will be finished because it's really sort of a mid-season crop. And then I can come back in here in the fall when the temperatures start to cool with a late season spinach crop or some other green that can tolerate those temperatures. So anytime you've got taller varieties like this red Russian kale, that's a prime opportunity to underplant. It's the same with these artichokes. Poor things, they look a little rough. They get a lot of high winds here. And these poor guys, some of them got a little crispy. But these will grow quite tall. You know, they'll grow 2.5, 3 feet tall. So I want to occupy that understory space. So I'll be coming in here with greens as well. I grew so many annuals this year that I popped some in here for color and to help cover the soil a little bit. But these beds will be populated with an understory of some kind of green, even if it's just baby kale. Won't compete with these guys. They're so tall. Regardless, later in the season, once we're past any additional cool spring rains, this soil will get covered. We'll be mulching in here. So we'll mulch with straw, with living material like a living mulch, or with dried leaves, and we're also going to do some experiments with wool, using wool this year as a mulch. So we're going to be fine in that regard. This is a storage onion bed. It's not going to have anything growing in it. Storage onions do not like competition whatsoever, but these guys are growing densely enough that all they need is a little mulch and they'll be just fine. In the cabbage bed, again, we've got a number of different varieties of cabbage in here, and this will all get underseeded as well. All this will be greens. So you can see, and at some point these cabbages are going to occupy the entire space, right? At which time the greens won't really be able to thrive. But in the meantime, so this is basically stacking functions with time and space. So we're utilizing the space when it's available, and then eventually the space will not be available and we will no longer have to worry about shading the soil out. So there's a lot of strategies that a person can use to help protect their soil and build so much more food security. We're so lucky we've got so many wonderfully good sized beds. This one bed of carrots, 4 rows of carrots, if I thin judiciously, is enough to feed my family for the entire year. Now, I still have carrots from last season downstairs in my cold storage, and they're doing just fine. They're starting to get a little bit hairy now, and some of those carrots are going to be the ones that I will take out, and actually, as they're going to start sprouting, I'm going to be planting in my pollinator garden to provide the small seeded flowers that our little tiny beneficial parasitic wasps love. So we're just basically trying to utilize all the resources that we have effectively. But what the point of me telling you about these 4 rows of carrots is that it's the same with the onions and the cabbages, that we're able to grow enough in an urban environment to feed us all winter long. It's really fantastic. So we're pretty thrilled with the production that we get off of here, but a big part of that is understanding the strategies for optimizing the use of space and time in your vegetable garden. So folks, if you have any questions, do shoot us some comments below and let us know how we can support you. And of course, these are all things that we talk about in the Permaculture Design Certification course. We love to guide people through building more resiliency and creating more food security for themselves. So do check that out. Anyway, folks, take care and enjoy your gardening season this year.